Sorry about that. Someone came in. I'll talk for maybe 10, 12 minutes, guys. I'm done. This is part 2. Obviously. Alright, here's the thing. I know. I'm doing this to entertain you guys, right? Anything out of them is interesting, right? Yeah. Yeah. You wouldn't get any fights in your league. No, I would allow fighting in my league, but I wouldn't. If players, chances are a lot of players would have beef with me if I was a star player, because they'd be envious and yeah. Even though we're all stars, like Ivan's why he's a main event. He has his hot ass with Dora Justice. They can be everything about that stuff. Some players, a lot of players might have beef with me, obviously. But if they did have beef with me, I wouldn't fight them. I would steer away from the fighting. Yes, I did get into fights in my life when I was a teenager, obviously. But ever since my adult years, I've matured, and I always do my very best to stay away from drama and fights. It's not who I am. I'm a holy man. I'm very holy. That's why when I fought that mulatto guy in high school, obviously, everyone would always ask me, Ivan, how come we didn't punch him? I told you, something told me don't punch him. I didn't want to punch him. I held back from punching. I threw him around like a rag doll. He had a couple shots on me, but I never punched him. Obviously, because when I lifted him up and I threw him on the ground, I could have started swinging at him, just like left and right. But I didn't, man. I threw him on the ground. You know what I'm saying? And now we're both tired. And Ivan, is it over? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it's. So I had a little bit of blood on my lip. I'm like, it's over, man. I don't want to fight this guy anymore because something was holding me back. I'm holy. I'm a holy man. Yeah. I'm so holy. Like even after you guys cause this mess in my life and you make me pay my wife, all I do is like kill time. I take my wife and I peace out. That's my revenge. I live the life of VJ and I'm a movie star VJ and you're left behind. You're not saved because I'm a holy man. But because I'm now king leading with me, you're paying a price. You're left behind. You're not saved. Obviously, you see what I'm saying? There we go. I'm a holy man. That's a setup, obviously. You got to got here. Yeah. But I would not get into fights if I started that Pro Hockey League. I would steer away from fights. I would talk shit. If people talk shit to me like you're a fucking asshole, I'm like, yeah, fuck you too, you fucking asshole. And I'm saying, yeah, I'd probably ask them to be the players, but I wouldn't fight them. That's not who I am. I'm sorry. I wouldn't fight them, honestly. As Connor McDavid's very smart. I think there's one game where Connor McDavid, he did have a little bit of a beef with a guy. Like he kind of like pushed the guy, but Connor McDavid that stays away from fighting, which is smart, man. Because there's nothing worse than getting your ass kicked on live television, man. That's why when you have beef with a guy, the best thing to do is just don't fight the guy. Because if you get your ass kicked, it's embarrassing, man. There's nothing worse than getting your ass kicked on live television. I'm saying, where Sidney Crosby, he's not a wuss. Sidney Crosby is actually a pretty strong guy. He's a good fighter. Sidney Crosby's actually a pretty good fighter. He's not the best fighter in the NHL, but Sidney Crosby can hold his own against these guys, man. He's a good fighter. I think most of the fights he won, Sidney Crosby had, he won them. There are a few of them that are pretty tied, but Sidney Crosby won most of his fights. But even Sidney Crosby's not stupid. Like, whenever he had beef with Chara, Sidney Crosby didn't want to fight him. Because he knew he'd get his ass kicked by Chara, obviously. He knew it, obviously, right? Sidney Crosby was like, yeah, I was being brave for my teammates, but Chara would have mopped for him. Yeah, Chara would have mopped for Sidney Crosby. Chara is a fighter, man. He mops the floors with most of his fighters. He's so tall. He's so big. He's like 6'8", 6'9". You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's a beast, Chara, obviously, right? He's a beast, Chara, yeah. Obviously. Yeah. Oh my God, Ivan has beef with this player. You know what I'm saying? You see me, you know what I'm saying? They might go. You know what I'm saying? And he doesn't want to fight him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, every time when people have beef with me, I don't want to fight them. But a lot of players might be like, "You want to fight and everything?" I'm like, "Nah, man, I don't want to." I just ignore them. Like, yeah, fuck you, man. I just like skate away at it. And then I'm saying, even if they push me and everything, I stay. I don't fight them. I don't want to get my ass kicked on live television. I'm a holy man. I'm not interested in fighting people. So I'm saying, yeah, yeah. I'm a holy man. I'm not interested in fighting people. So I'm saying, yeah, yeah. VJ too. Some woman might have beef with VJ too. If VJ played in Pro Hockey League, you know what I'm saying? Victoria Justice is the kind of woman I think would fight back though. Yeah, I mean, if the woman had beef with me, I give him a piece on my ass. If Victoria Justice might fight them, you know what I'm saying? Victoria Justice, I think, is the kind of woman who might fight back. Because that's not who I am. Victoria Justice is not like me, obviously. Yeah. Yeah. Why were the Soviets in the 1970s and the 80s, since the 1960s to 1980s, why were they so dominant? Because they had rigorous training. I heard. I saw the documentary. The Soviets, they trained. Don't forget the training they had back then is not on the same level they have now, obviously. But for its time, the Soviets at the time were such amazing hockey trainers that they outskated. They even beat the NHL All Stars. I saw all four games. I think Gretzky remembers. I remember that. Yeah, they beat the NHL. This is before Gretzky got drafted, right? They beat the NHL All Stars, man, in the '70s, right? Yeah, the NHL Stars beat them one game, and the next three games they beat the NHL All Stars, and then Team USA they beat the Soviets in the Olympics, obviously, because they trained for that moment, man. They trained for that date. But I watched the game. I believe I believe in the Soviets just had. I think the Soviets did not expect Team USA to beat them. I think Team USA got lucky with the Soviets, to be honest. Even though they beat them and everything, and they made history beating the Soviets, the Soviets just had a bad day. Just like the NHL All Stars beat the Soviets on their first game, and after that they what they lost three games straight. I think the Soviets just had a bad day, and Team USA was prepped. Obviously, they trained for that day. What's his face? Herb Brooks trained the shit out of the athletes to prep them to skate with the Soviets, and they were able to beat them. But I saw the game. The Soviets outperformed Team USA in the game in the first like three quarters, and they got lucky, man, against the Soviets, and they know it. Yeah, we got lucky. Yeah, you guys got lucky. Yeah, you beat them and you made history, but you got lucky. Like college athletes beat the guys, right? The Soviets. They got lucky. Obviously, it was a great. That's the biggest like sport upset in history because the Soviets never lost a gold medal round in like 20 years, and they lost to these college kids in the Olympics. The Herb Brooks story. There's a movie called Miracle. I own it. You guys know the story? Yeah, the Team USA beat the Soviets, and the Soviets were dominant for 20 years. They were so dominant. I know why they were dominant because they had a very rigorous training in Russia. That's why they outperformed all these athletes for their time. Obviously, yeah, they beat the NHL All Stars. NHL All-Stars, the best players, the Soviets beat them, man. Today, a Russian Soviet team would never beat the NHL All-Stars. The NHL players now have much better training than the NHL players did back then, obviously. My point is, the Soviets, because they had very rigorous training, they were able to beat the NHL All-Stars back in the 70s and the 80s. Back in the 70s. Before they lost to the Team USA in the Olympic Games. Some Sarah? Yeah. Yeah, if you wanna have your hockey on the level of the way the Soviets dominated the hockey in the 70s and 80s, you have to have rigorous training. Yeah, you have to have rigorous training like that. That way you take the game to the next level, and it's a bit better in the NHL. Some Sarah. Yeah, that's what I would do, obviously. So you want better training programs? Yeah, better training programs for the athletes. That way they're in better shape, and yeah, that's what I would do, obviously. And I would have to be a part of the training too with the athletes. That way I'm in better shape too. Will you still smoke? Obviously, yes, I'll still smoke, but I'll probably tone down on my smoking and tone down on my drinking. Obviously, I wouldn't be drinking every day as a pro athlete. I'll have to make some life changes, obviously. Yeah, you can't drink every day. I know. I'll drink occasionally, maybe on a weekend, but I'll be training with the athletes and everything, and I'll give the GMs and the presidents and the board members will be guiding me running the league, obviously, and they're the ones responsible for every team has board members, and the board members hires the president, the vice president, then they hire the GM hires the coaches. And you have the equipment managers, you have all that stuff, right? You guys know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's how it works. Ivan, do you want power, say, in the drafts and how each team releases their players? No. Like, give them full power to do whatever they want to do to make that team better. I have no say in the firing of the GM or the coach. That's in the power of the president, the vice president, the GM. So the GM wants to fire the coach, the GM has that power to fire the coach. If the vice president wants to fire the GM or the president wants to fire the GM, they have that power to fire the GM. You got what I'm saying? If the GM or the coach wants to release a player, they have that power. I don't have that. That's the say. I'm still the boss, but I don't have the say. Obviously, you know what I'm saying? And how it worked for my contract, I would do a thing where I'll take the minimum salary. Okay, pay me $750K. I won't take a salary. No, I won't even take a salary. I won't take a salary. All the league revenue goes to me. I won't take a salary because all the billions are going to me. I don't take a salary. I'd rather have that money go to another star player who you need to make the team better. You know what I'm saying? That's how you know I'm generous. All just like for Skystars, I'm not taking a salary too. For Zanes, I'm not taking a salary. As me and VJ are gonna make our money off the movie profits. You VJ don't take a salary. We don't need the money. Because we're running multi-billions. I don't need the money. I'm running multi-billion. I don't need the money. I won't take a salary. That way you create more room to pay the players more. Sarah? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, if you want to protect your investment, you have to play in the league and you have to be the star of your league. I know. But to be a star, Ivan, you have to go through rigorous training. Okay, hire the best hockey trainers in the world. Ivan, what kind of training do you want? Okay, you know the Soviets? You know the training that the Soviets went through, the Russian team in the 1980s? I want you to put me through that training for 3-4 years. Okay, Ivan. You want to be amazing? Yeah, I want to be amazing. Okay, I will put you through that training. They put me through the training. Maybe the first 2 years I'm okay, and eventually I become an amazing star player, obviously. So, Sarah? Ivan, do you get to say what team you want to play in, obviously? When I start playing in the league, I will choose what team I want to play in, obviously. But then after that, it's up to the league if they want to trade me. They have that power to trade me. They want to trade me, obviously. That way it's fair, obviously, right? see what I'm saying? Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah. That's why me and VJ are so powerful. We have the keys. And hypothetically speaking, if I started that pro league, it would blow the NHL out of the water. It'd be the NHL on steroids with 4K broadcasting technology, man. NHL's 1080p broadcast. My broadcast would be 4K. I'd have it be 4K. 4K quality. It'd be out the NHL, man. The gatekeepers NHL, right? Yeah. So sorry. Anyways, guys, here's what I hope you guys do the show about Ivan's hypothetical pro sport hockey league. Stay tuned. I'll make a video probably, I don't know, Friday, Thursday. Today's Thursday, right? I'll make a video Saturday for you guys. It's Ivan saying, peace, guys. Peace out, guys. No ham, son. Hope you guys on the show. Peace out. No ham, son.